Boom. 4 minutes. 4 minutes late. And there is no power here. But what I need for you to tell me at this juncture is I need for you to say those magic words. What any bus driver? Not that there's anything wrong with a bus driver. I'm just saying it's very bus driver-esque. This color and the tie. I look like a Zambian bus driver. Again, nothing wrong with that. You know, you got to be politically correct in this day and age. You say the wrong thing, you're out. Hey, Stacy, I see you. You're late. I know. Stacy, tell me in the comments, and who is that? Luhas? Tell me if I'm loud and clear. Hey, Bo, how's it going? There's no. You can see the reflection in my glasses. That's because I've got my window that's facing City Market. It's open, and so the reflection from my window is hitting my eyes, my glasses. Therefore, you cannot see my eyes clearly. You're just going to have to contend with the reflection. You really have to. Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate that so much. What do you think of this shirt? It's a bit too blue for me, really. Honestly, I mean, I like blue, but this is bus driver blue. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, just saying. So, hey, Bo, love you. Thank you so much. Oh, Stacy loves the shirt. Thank you. I'm so thankful. Guys, do me a favor. Please share this live wherever you're watching me from, and let's see if we can get a few extra people involved. There are people that may be interested in this type of conversation, and I would love for you to share this live. A few days ago, well, not a few days ago, yesterday, Sunday, the former head of state, the former and sixth president, Edgar Lungu, was at a church service, and incidentally, today's his birthday. Happy birthday, former President Lungu. We wish you all the very best. And let me take this opportunity now to say that it is times like this that you really have to be in a state of introspection. You are going into the last portion of your life. I mean, we all want to live forever, but we never do, okay? In our lives are mainly made of 3 parts. Life is a 3-part act. There's the beginning when you're born, there's the middle when you live your life, and then there's the end where you exit and say farewell to this planet. You are in the 3rd act of your life. You have achieved things that the average Zambian never achieved. You ran for president twice. You were elected twice. You served twice. And now it's time for you to step aside and let other people lead. Far be it from you to suggest or to think that you are the bastion of presidential knowledge, that only you and you alone can take this nation to the next stage. I will never forget the statement former and sixth President Lungu made during the 2021 elections. We were hired as SML TV to cover the virtual rallies as we were with the UPND and a few other people. And I remember going to Mulungushi Conference Center, and there are a lot of things that the former president said, but for some reason I have never forgotten this one thing he said. He said that development has no destination. You will never elect a leader that comes into office, does everything imaginable, closes the lid on development, and leaves the office and say, you know what, you don't need another president. I've basically done it all. I've done everything for you and you don't need anybody else. No, the former president said, development has no destination. Every person comes to the plate, they do their bit. Once they're done, they leave and pave way for other new ideas, new leadership. But unfortunately in Zambia, once you taste the nectar of the presidency, you want to stay there forever. You know, Lungu, the only reason he wants to regain power is because he misses that way of life. It's got nothing to do with development. It's got nothing to do with wanting to provide a better life for the Zambian people. It has everything to do with selfishness, self-aggrandizement, self-service, a desire and a bloodthirsty, cringing desire of revenge. That's all it is. So I said all of that to say this: Lungu should accept that he's now advancing in age. Not that he's too old to contribute. No, what we're saying is that in terms of the presidency, he played his part, and that should be a bright, long, fluffy feather in his hat. But in Zambia, that's not enough, apparently. In Zambia, you know, people around Lungu, initially he said, I'm not going to run. I don't want to be a part of that. But people like Nakachinda, everybody else, they convinced him, including himself. Because that's the other thing about Lungu, is that he comes across as this very humble, meek, selfless man, when really, behind curtains, because he tasted the nectar of the presidency, he changed. And now he's become a man that wants to regain power by any means necessary. A few things I want to talk to you about. And before I say that, let me just very quickly address something that is constantly mentioned on social media. And for those of you simpletons, because there are many of you, those of you that are shallow-minded, you don't have deep analysis, you do not have a depth in analytical examination. Everything for you is just basic, it's all surface. This part of my address is to you. For those of you that say, no, HH is afraid. Why is he scared? Huh? HH. Why are you scared? Well, let's look at this for a moment. In the run-up to the 2021 elections, you remember former President Lungu made it very clear that he was going to do everything within his power to put a bullet through Hakainde Hichilema's political life. Hear me? You remember it. He was on the campaign trail and he said, I'm going to put an end to the political career of Hakainde Hichilema because he's become a political nuisance. That was a clear and present danger and a threat to President Lungu's, not only his, to President HH, not only to his well-being, but to his life. Now you have to remember the environment that we're living in. Any word, a word like that coming from the head of state, his cadres would swing into action. If there was ever a person who could have been afraid, if there was ever a time to be afraid, it was then. Some of us, some of you, when you hear a head of state saying to you, I'm going to put an end to your political career, and they threaten you in that way, knowing full well that we were living in an environment of hooligans and thugs. Your life was in danger, not just your freedom, your life. That was the time to be afraid. Was Hakainde Hichilema afraid? Because had he been afraid, he would have left the country. Had he been afraid, he would have been in exile. Had he been afraid, he would have told his family, the pressure's too much, I can't handle this, I know I love Zambia, but I'm not prepared to die for this nation because my freedoms were paid for by Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. Why should I die for freedom now? If there was ever a time for a person to be afraid, it was then. But was he afraid? Did he leave the country? Because had he left, then you simpletons, you dwanzis, then you can easily no hakainda ali butuka. Ali umfomwe so atashani apyam. He stood his ground in the face of adversity, in the face of insurmountable odds, because let me tell you, this 2021 was the last straw. You must understand that. These UPND guys, they tell me all the time, that year was the last straw. That was the straw that was going to break the camel's back. Because had Edgar Lungu won in 2021, my goodness, Lelo, where do you think Hakainde Hichilema would be today? Two things. Either incarcerated for life or dead. Dead! That was the plan. That was the goal. And you are foolish and you are naive if you think anything other than that. The writing was on the wall. It was clear. A clear and present danger to the life and well-being of a candidate, HH. So, it is disingenuous. It is wrong for you to start now saying, no, Hakainde is afraid of EDGAR. He's afraid. That's stupid. If he was going to be afraid, it was in 2021. Because had the Zambian people decided to bring back Edgar Lungu, Hakainde's life would have been over. And he knew that. But the Zambian people woke up and said, no. The Zambian people woke up and said, no. 2.8 million Zambians rose to their feet, stood in line for hours, undeterred, unwavering. And they said, this very Tonga you don't want is the one we want. This very man you say is wrong for us is the very man we want. The Zambian people spoke, and they spoke in unison. So remove that nonsense of being afraid. That type of fear is misapplied in this dispensation. You can only apply it in 2021, not now. That's nonsense. So, a few things that the former head of state said, and I find it very strange that Lungu now is openly supporting Donald Trump when he never peeped a word prior to the American elections. You know what that is? That's being an opportunist, a political opportunist. Lungu is trying to tap into the idea of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Archaic politics, draconian politics, ancient politics, antiquated politics. The enemy of your enemy is your friend. And you want to play that type of bantu idate chess, idani drafts. You're playing drafts, former president, where you're now praising Donald Trump for political mileage. You think those Americans don't see through you? They see right through you, former N6 president. Don't play that game. You don't wear it well. It looks very tacky on you, sir, and you shouldn't do that. It makes you come across as desperate. You're grasping at straws, you're reaching. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel. You don't know what the hell you're doing, okay? You need somebody to sit you down and advise you and say, honey, it's over. Let's just move on. But do you listen? No. You're stubborn as hell, and unfortunately, it's not gonna end well for you if you keep going down this road. We've seen the writing on the wall. There is nothing new under the sun. Every former president before you has tried to do what you're doing. They landed with a hollow thud. Each and every one of them failed, except, of course, Bamwanawasa, with the exception of Bamwanawasa. But all these other guys, they all try to do it. The Zambian people are politically encoded. We don't like third terms. We don't. We hate anything to do with third terms. Okay? So you need to ride off into the sunset and enjoy the rest of your life. You, at this stage of your life, remember in the beginning of my dissertation, I said to you that life is made up of 3 acts, 3 main parts in our lives. There's the beginning, the middle, and then the end. You are in the end of your life. You should not be struggling with anything because you've achieved more than the average Zambian has achieved. You were elected twice, sworn in twice, and you served twice. That's a big feather in your cap. But you don't want that. What you want is that you want to go down with both guns blazing. It's not going to work. It's going to land with a hollow thud. And you're going to be sorry for it. You really are, former president. You really are. Alrighty. I find it strange that former Lungu made reference to Harris and her faith. And, you know, Lungu to me it's strange that he's using the church to campaign and also to present himself as this uber Christian candidate. Lungu is not uber Christian. He simply uses the Christian tag to advance his political goal. You must understand that. I mean, for those of us that are, you know, charismatic Christians, we see through all of that. You know, you can tell a candidate who has a real, authentic relationship with God, and you can tell a candidate who's using the religious crutch to advance his political goal. That's what Lungu does. Lungu uses the Christian faith to advance his political goal because he knows that by and large, Zambians are faithful people when it comes to faith. That's sinister. That's insidious. That's cunning. That is imingalato. That's like a snake in the grass, and we see right through you. All right. Thought I'd share that with you guys. I'm a light to that. Thanks for watching. This is a salute sign, by the way. It's not a political symbol. The other day I went to the High Court. I've shared this with you. I went to the High Court concerning my case. And you know the tire slashing case. By the way, that comes up November the 22nd this year. So I went there and I walked into the High Court. Sorry, it wasn't the High Court, it was the Supreme Court. I walked in and there were a couple of guys sitting by the bench, you know, in the gallery. I walked in and I did this. I saluted. And they all, hey, forward. I said, guys, this is a salute sign. I said, you may be that and that's fine, but I'm just giving you a salute sign. Not everything has to be political. Okay. The other day, because you know, on the street, we don't handshake, we fist bump. So I met a few UPND guys and I tried to fist bump. And they said, I said, look, it's just a greeting. In Zambia, everything's political. Even greetings and salutations. All right. Guys, thanks for watching. God bless.